Hey everybody, welcome to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. I'm John Clark, along with some former Eagles greats, Mike Quick and Ike Reese. How about the Eagles the last 2 weeks? They found a formula. They have rushed for over 400 yards, 85 carries. They have 3 wins on the road, Ike. Can they pack this running game to Denver?
Oh, no doubt about it. And when you play this brand of football, it certainly travels. It's like having a good defense. Good defenses travel on the road. Running games, you can bring them anywhere. And when you look at the Eagles over the last 2 weeks, they've gone from being one of the teams that runs the fewest amount of attempts in a game to being the number 1 team over the last 2 weeks. They have clearly found their identity. Their formula for success is starting with running the football and giving those big guys up front the opportunity to knock somebody off the ball.
You're exactly right. They're starting to show their identity, their ability to run the football. And even if you're not having a lot of success running the football, when you start to run the football, commit that you're going to run the football, it makes the defense play a certain way. They're going to allocate resources to that, and then it's going to open up the passing game. So if you watch this play, it's a perfect example of using the running game to set up the passing game in the play action. And this is a set that looks like they're going to run the ball. Before this play, they ran the football off of this exact set. It's tight split or condensed formation, and they're expecting to run, but it's the play that you like, John. It's the 3-level stretch once again. Quez Watkins is going to take the top off the defense, and he's going to occupy not just his guy, but the safety in the middle. It allows Devontae Smith to run that deep crossing route, and it's a very defined throw for the quarterback, and he hits him in stride. This is a perfect example of how you marry the run game up with the passing game and the play action.
All right, well, that's going to be a big test Sunday in Denver because the Broncos are only giving up 17 points a game. Second fewest in the NFL. So with more on that Broncos D, here's enemy intel with Greg Cosell.
The Philadelphia Eagles offense, and Jalen Hurts in particular, are up against a really difficult defense to play against. Vic Fangio is the head coach, and he runs the defense for the Denver Broncos. He's been doing this a long time, and if you talk to people in the league, they will tell you when it comes to defense that Vic Fangio is a savant. He's one of the best there is, and he's been doing it for many, many years. And what makes him so difficult is what he does with his safeties. That's a major part of his defense. What he shows you pre-snap is not often what you get after the snap. And the movements are not necessarily dramatic, they're kind of subtle. And you really notice them in passing situations and on third down. And obviously the Eagles offense hope that they're not in a lot of third downs, but they will be in third and long, every offense is. And that's where it gets really difficult. And you can go back last week against a veteran quarterback like Dak Prescott, one of the best in the league, and see an interception by dime safety Caden Stearns, and this really shows what Vic Fangio does at his best. The initial look is that of a 2-shell, and that's the staple of Vic Fangio. They're in a 2-shell coverage look near the top of the NFL in terms of percentage. But what does he do? You see Justin Simmons sort of sneak down into what becomes a 1-robber coverage. Now there's 3 receivers to the right side of the formation, and Caden Stearns is matched up on the inside slot receiver. This looks like man coverage with a robber, but watch what happens when that number 3 receiver starts to break inside, because this is basically a dagger concept for the Cowboys. What does Stearns do? He passes him on to Justin Simmons, the robber. And what happens here is Stearns, in effect, replaces Simmons as the robber. Dak Prescott is absolutely certain that he has CeeDee Lamb on the dig ball as part of the dagger concept. But Stearns, after passing off Cedric Wilson, is now sitting right in the passing lane and makes a great interception. Dak Prescott had no idea he'd be sitting there. This is the kind of disguise and movement that is so critical to what Vic Fangio does with his defense, and it's very hard to decipher after the snap of the ball. So this will be a challenge for Jalen Hurts in the Eagles offense, particularly when they get into long yardage and third down situations.
And the Eagles were very good on third down against the Chargers. How about Devontae Smith, by the way? He is really blossoming, and he's on pace for a 1,000-yard season. He's coming off his second 100-yard game. What do you expect to see from Devontae from this point forward?
I just think he's fun to watch. The guy is really skilled, and you would think that being a first-round draft pick, but when you watch him play, he's so good at every phase of the game. A guy at 170 pounds, he blocks really well. When he starts to get to the route running, he's one of the best I've seen. He's so smooth. He has this speed that really scares defenders, but he has that ability to break it off right away and separate from defenders. He catches the ball extremely well. I think he's just a well-rounded receiver, one who can do it all.
Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. And by Pepsi, your official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles.
Here we are, here we go. Good job. Great return. Let's go score. Hey, keep smacking these guys. Let's go. Good play. That's huge, man.
So great stuff there from Eagles tight end Dallas Goedert, who was mic'd up against the Chargers. And I think when you look at this offense over the last couple of weeks, we've talked already on the show about how that unit has transformed over these last two games against Detroit and against LA. And the tight ends have been a big part of it. The Eagles are using multiple tight end sets at the second highest rate in the NFL over these last two games. And I think when you look at it, it impacts not just the pass game, but also the run game. And a good example is one of their staple runs over these last two games. And that's what's called split zone. If we take a look here at the film, what you're going to see from split zone is it's basically inside zone to one side. So you're going to have offensive linemen all blocking one direction. And then you're going to get a tight end coming back across the formation to block that backside defensive end. And what that does is it splits the defense in half. We'll see a great angle of that here on this Jordan Howard run in the first half. Again, you're going to get those double teams. Outstanding job from Dallas Goedert and Lane Johnson here on this play. Good job by these three here, walling off the front side of the run. And Jordan Howard is going to play right off that double team from Goedert and from Lane Johnson. You've got the cut block here from tight end Jack Stoll to get Joey Bosa to the ground. And now what do you have? You've got Jordan Howard springing up for 18 yards to get the Eagles to midfield. Now, one of the other things we've seen from this Eagles offense over the last couple of weeks, not just the run game, not just the play action pass, but the way that they've been able to run complementary plays off of their base run concepts. And we just saw that split zone run with Jalen Hurts under center to Jordan Howard. Here's another example. This time Jalen Hurts in the shotgun with Boston Scott in the backfield. You see three tight ends on the line of scrimmage. There's two on one side. Here's Dallas Goedert over to the other. This is going to once again be that same split zone look where you're going to have the tight end coming back across the formation. Here comes Dallas Goedert, right? He's going to come and try and block this defensive end. You've got zone blocking all to the right. Here's Boston Scott. He's going to work downhill. That's what it looks like to the defense pre-snap. Look at all the white jerseys. Everybody's looking, hey, this is split zone. This is the same exact play we saw a couple of drives ago. But thing is it's not split zone because Dallas Goedert, he's not going to come back and block this defensive end. Instead, watch Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts' eyes are right there on this defensive end. And with him crashing down, now that alley is there for Jalen Hurts to be able to keep this football on a keeper. And now you've got Dallas Goedert leaking up to the second level. You see the blocks out there on the perimeter. So you had what looked like split zone to everybody in the box defensively. Well, now the Eagles bust out a perimeter run. Jalen Hurts runs for a first down. So you incorporate the quarterback run game into one of your core concepts for your running backs. And it doesn't stop there because we've seen the Eagles once again do this in the RPO game as well. A little bit later in the game, Jalen Hurts in the shotgun. Here's Jordan Howard. Again, this is going to look like that same split zone run. Everybody's blocking left. You're going to get the tight end Jack Stoll coming back across to get Joey Bosa, except we're going to have that same read. Here's Jalen Hurts. He sees what he needs to here on the perimeter, and instead of handing this ball off, or instead of keeping it himself, he's going to throw it to Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert's going to be wide open in the flat. And now this is going to be a 21-yard catch and run for another first down. So 3 completely different outcomes, 3 different ball carriers, all 3 first downs, but they all looked exactly the same just at the snap of the ball. I think the Eagles offensive coaching staff has done a really good job of blending not just their top runs with their play actions, but running complementary runs and run pass option plays off of those base plays. It's something I'm absolutely going to be watching here this week against the Denver Broncos.
Hey, welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. We saw what Justin Herbert was able to do to the Eagles defense, and Eagles defense has given up 75% completion percentage to opposing quarterbacks. That's going to be the worst in NFL history if they don't turn this around. But they tried different things, Mike Quick, against the Chargers, right?
They are starting to try different things. You know, early in the season, they set back in that 2-deep zone, just trying to make sure that they didn't give up big plays, and they didn't give up many big plays, but realizing now they have to be a little more aggressive. We saw the most 3-deep coverage I think we've seen in any game so far this year, and they're making the adjustments. You have to understand who you have in your locker room, who you have on the field, and you have to understand what they do well. And I think they're starting to understand that a little bit more, and they're starting to make the adjustments. We're seeing a little bit more blitzing, but a lot more man coverage on the outside.
And situational awareness has to improve for the defense out there, right? And what I mean by that is, listen, we understand in this league you can't take away everything as a defense. You're going to give up something. So when the Eagles decide to play zone, sure, there are some completions you're going to give up, and you're okay with that, depending on down and distance. You want somebody to throw the ball in front of you, you come up and you make the tackle, you're okay if the completion comes short there. But where you can't have completions is in situational football when you're playing a defense and you're supposed to have outside leverage on a coverage and single high safety. Well, somebody has to come down and be aware that if the corner is giving up outside leverage, he needs to be protected on the inside. You get a big play to Keenan Allen that extended a drive. That's an example right there where if you're just situationally aware of the defense that you're playing, where the weakness in the defense is at, you're going to be able to anticipate where the offense wants to go with the ball. And once we clear up those small things, I'm telling you, as a unit, the defense will continue to get better. They're doing different things. Jonathan Gannon is giving the defense more things to go out on the field and battle with, but you got to execute these things well in order for the coach to give you more.
And to add to that, just simply understanding where the sticks are, the situational awareness. If it's 3rd down and they need 3rd and 8, you got to understand where those sticks are and where you can plant your foot as a defensive back and drive on the football and make a play. Or stay tight coverage to him and force the quarterback to hold the ball a tick.
Well, the Eagles have done well against the run lately, but here come the Broncos. They ran for 190 rushing yards in Dallas. With more on the Broncos running game, here's enemy intel with Greg Cosell.
This week, the Philadelphia Eagles face a Denver Broncos offense that really starts with the run game. It's an offense that features a lot of what we call 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends. They run the ball really effectively, and they're coming off a game against the Dallas Cowboys in which they did that really well. They've got 2 backs that they use, and they use them relatively equally depending on the game, Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams. Now, both of these backs are big physical runners. They're downhill competitive runners, and the focus of their run game features the traits of these backs. We're going to take a more detailed look here at Williams, the first-year back out of North Carolina, who was actually my #1 runner coming out of college a year ago. And we're going to look at 2 specific kinds of runs that they feature with Williams. The last number of weeks, they've really focused on the split flow inside zone run game with him. And you can see that here against the Washington football team. This is exactly what they like to do. Get him downhill. He's a velocity runner, he's a momentum runner, get him on a track downhill, and he gets to that 2nd and 3rd level, and he's very, very difficult to bring down. He runs through contact, he's got excellent balance, and he's got strong finishing traits. You see that against Washington. But the run that really stood out and really showed his attributes was a run last week against the Dallas Cowboys. It was 30 yards. This was not a zone run. This was what we call a GG pull scheme. Both guards will pull here, and they will lead him on his track. And you really see the physicality, competitiveness, toughness, ability to work through contact of Williams on this 30-yard run against the Cowboys. Now, last week, Williams gained over 100 yards. Gordon had 80 yards. They had over 35 carries. This is an offense that is built to run the football. Teddy Bridgewater works off of the run game. So this is one of those games for the Philadelphia Eagles defense where they have to line up, they've got to buckle their chin straps, and they've got to tackle. Because one thing about both these backs, Williams in particular, if you don't really tackle him with bodies, one body is not enough. If you don't tackle him with bodies, he will turn a 5 or 6 yard gain into a 15, 20, or even a 30-yard gain, as we saw against the Cowboys. So that's the kind of game this will be for the Philadelphia Eagles defense.
Yeah, the Eagles are going to have their big boy pads on to face this Broncos running game. How about TJ Edwards? 25 tackles the last 2 weeks. I want to hear linebacker talk. What are you liking from this guy?
Well, I tell you, I'm liking what everybody should like, watching number 57 out there run around. I think last week was his best game by far. You talking about a guy just being a magnet to the football. That was TJ Edwards last week. But not only that, his style of play, I think, is contagious. When you play as physical as he does, the rest of the guys feed off of that energy. Let me give you an example. Down here on the goal line against the Chargers last week. Now, you got I-back formation. We don't even get this formation in football too often. So as a linebacker, you get excited. You know why? Because it's more than likely going to be a run. And since it's down here by the goal line, I know at the snap of that ball, if I get any indicator that it's a run, I'm going downhill fast. And you watch TJ Edwards here, he's anticipating this is going to be a lead, and that's exactly what he gets. He meets the fullback at the line of scrimmage, stuffs him, and the best part about this play, as my old coach, the great late Jim Johnson used to say, you can't trade one for one, you aren't doing your job. And what he meant by that was, not only is it your job to take on this block on the right side, but you have to defeat the block and make the tackle. And that's what TJ Edwards did here. Getting this type of linebacker play can be contagious for the rest of the defense. I'm excited seeing it, and as Eagles fans, you should be excited seeing it as well.
Nothing gets him hyped than talking linebackers. All right, if there's anything left in this segment for you, Mike Quick, how about the Eagles' defensive line? They weren't able to touch Justin Herbert. When a quarterback's getting the ball out quick, and if this happens in Denver, what can the line do, or what can the defense do to try to get pressure?
It really helps if the cornerbacks, the guys on the outside, play tight coverage early in the down. And that's going to force the quarterback to hold the football and allow those big guys to get to the quarterback. That's so important. The front end has to marry up with the back end and what they do to have success. But I enjoy what's happening with the linebacker play of TJ Edwards. He brings it, and it makes everybody play better.
Welcome back to Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. And one thing you might see this week is the Eagles defensive line get home. Teddy Bridgewater has been sacked 26 times. Only 2 quarterbacks have been sacked more. So what can the Eagles defense do to kind of help get home with Teddy Bridgewater?
Well, I think they throw the ball deep more than people realize. They're third in the league in deep attempts. So they've got a couple of big guys on the outside, and Sutton and Tim Patrick. They both go about 6'3", 6'4", and they like the fade ball. They like to get to the outside on the fade. They like to throw it deep. So if you're able to make that quarterback, Bridgewater, hold the football just a little bit, it allows the big guys to get home. But these guys are really good at the jump ball, at the fade. So the cornerbacks, they've got to be on point this week.
Yeah, and you're looking at really 2 offenses that want to play a little bit more conservative and take their chances when they get an opportunity to. And I say that because I think the Eagles need to keep the same formula for success that they've been using the last 2 weeks on the offensive side of the ball when you're facing this Broncos defense. This Broncos defense, very underrated, second in the league and giving up the fewest points per game at 17. And that just tells me that there'll be some opportunities there, but we can't force them. We can't force those opportunities out there because when you're on the road, that defense is what gets their crowd going out there in Mile High.
And the Broncos are dealing with some injuries. Patrick Surtain, and then they're down 2 of their top 3 tackles on offense. So Eagles, hopefully another road win. 3-2 on the road. Thanks for watching this Eagles Game Plan presented by Toyota. Check out the kickoff show on PhiladelphiaEagles.com. Special time 3:35. Enjoy the game, everybody. Eagles Game Plan is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers, proud automotive partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. NovaCare Rehabilitation, the power of physical therapy. And by Pepsi, your official soft drink of your Philadelphia Eagles.